I've been an artist all of my life, and art was a way for me to express myself because of when I was younger, I was sexually abused, and
Mm.
I think that that affected my voice. And I was raised in a neglectful and abuseful, environment, and so I didn't have a way of expressing myself because I felt like what I had to say wasn't important.
Yeah.
So I can remember as a young child spending a lot of time alone, like by myself. And art was a way for me to express myself. It was a way for me to put my thoughts and my ideas and my feelings down on paper. And it was life changing for me. I drew my entire life, especially when I was young, I used to draw people a lot, women a lot, because I was trying to find myself and find my voice. And I in high school, I was in AP art, but I didn't dedicate a lot of my time and my energy to it because I had a social life, outside of my home life that was really good, and it was a far distance from my regular family life. So I really was into social things when I was in high school, and when I was in college, um, my focus wasn't art. It started off as sociology, and then I ended up being a art teacher because I didn't have confidence in my art. And there was always this concept when I was growing up of a starving artist. And my parents actually bought fine art from starving artist sales. So that was something that was implanted in my head where I felt like I probably couldn't be successful, at being an artist. So I took that energy and um, I thought about how powerful my voice was and how could I change the world and what difference could I make if I didn't have enough confidence to do it with my art. So I became an art teacher. And, when I became an art teacher, it helped me a lot as an artist and become a better artist because I practice a lot. And when you teach people things and you give people confidence, it changes your scope as an artist. It made me a better artist and it made me a better person.
Beautiful. I love that. I connect with you on the teacher thing because I also am a consultant teacher in addition to my healing work. And I just want to say thank you for just being real and just sharing about your background because I think so many people who are empaths and highly sensitive people just start out life with a lot of trauma. I don't know if anyone else can relate to that, but I think it's
Yeah.
really common.
Yes, it is. I
Yeah.
think that's important to, for me, it's been important to look at my trauma as something that molded me to be here right now. Like, I feel like right now, where I'm sitting at looking at you, Sarah, and looking at everybody else, this is the most important moment of my life. And everything that I have been through has prepared me for this moment. And to be here, and I've rewritten my story. My trauma has made me a successful artist, a successful teacher, a successful empath. um, it's made me a better person. So I look at it as some of the worst things that I've been through and some of the worst things have happened to me have made me golden. They have made me into somebody that has changed the lives of a lot of people. I taught 6,000 kids and I worked at 13 different schools, elementary, middle school, as well as high school. And I taught all these other people how to use their voice. I meet a lot of adults and I've met a lot of adults and I show them my art and they talk about their experiences that they had when they were in school. They never learned how to draw, or somebody was like, that don't look good, or that ain't, you know what I'm saying? Somebody had something to say about their work and it really shut them down and it shut their self-esteem down. So I wanted to make sure that each one of my students had confidence in what they created. So I created this concept of the language of art. So art is a language. It starts out with lines, like vertical lines, horizontal lines, zigzag lines, curvy lines, spiral lines, and then it moves on to shapes that are created with those lines. And then the shapes turns into forms, and forms are like 3D interpretations of the shapes, and then you have color that you add to that, and then you create a composition, and that's how you arrange everything, like you arrange your furniture in your bedroom, or you put your clothes on a certain way. So I created that language, and I taught everybody that language. And like in Asian culture, Vietnamese culture, Chinese culture, Japanese culture, when they draw characters, their letters, that's art, that's drawing. And in some of those cultures, they don't have a concept that I can't make a character, I can't make a drawing, and I don't know why that doesn't translate in our culture, that if you can draw letters, you can draw. If you can draw an A, you can draw a triangle, because people say, well, I can't draw a circle. And I'm like, well, you can draw an O. So I think it's an artist in everyone. And I think it's important for everyone to be creative. And I love being an artist because I feel like my art connects me to anybody, any person, no matter what color they are, their race, their size, their age, we can connect. You know what I'm saying? And I really love that about being an artist.
Love that. That is just so inspiring. Do you ever feel like you get that self-criticism when you're trying to create art, or did you find that in your students?
Yes, absolutely. I had to deal with that myself when I was younger, because a lot of people that I showed my art to when I was younger, they weren't artists. They weren't professionally trained artists, and they didn't know a lot about art. They know what they liked and what they didn't like, and they didn't know a lot about expression and the concept of just being free and being creative. So I took those messages to heart, and I felt like I wasn't good enough. I was told that I used too much black, and I needed to spend more time on stuff, and I took that to heart, and it kept me stagnant for a long time. And because of the way that I was raised, I had codependency issues. So I felt like I had to be this people pleaser. And that really hurt my art career until I realized that I have to be true to myself, and I have to express what's on the inside of me. And I really got that when I became a teacher, and I started, giving kids a lot of positive reinforcements, no matter what they did, that you are special, and you have a voice that needs to be heard, and your work is valid and it's beautiful. And I gave kids so much positive reinforcement because I wanted them to believe in themselves. Whatever you put down on paper, whether somebody likes it or not, whether you like it or not, it's something that's coming from within you, that's expressing something. And it could be expressing something that you don't even know, that you're not even aware of, but it's something that you got to get it out. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was really important. And I gave my students in the classroom a lot of positive reinforcement, because I wanted them to have confidence in themselves and what they did and what they created. And I think it's very important for students and people to have a visual verbal vocabulary, to be able to close your eyes. Like, if I tell you to close your eyes and I tell you to picture an elephant with a tutu on, under the sunshine, with flowers, just laying in the grass on a red blanket, you can picture that in your mind because of your visual verbal vocabulary. And if you can conceive it, you can achieve it. So if you can picture it in your mind, you can manifest it, you can create it, you can build your own world. You know what I'm saying? And that starts with an artist. You learn how an elephant looks from an artist, from somebody that used the video camera, or for somebody that drew it on a cartoon. You know what I'm saying? So art gives people a vehicle to really manifest, and to just bring things into their world, to create their own world. I always felt like I was different and I didn't fit in, but I had to realize that I am here to create my own world. I'm not here to fit in, and invite other people into this world and show other people how to create their world. You know what I'm saying?
Can you tell me a little bit about how you tap into your intuition when you're creating art?
Oh, wow, yes. So I do a lot of yoga, and I meditate a lot. I'm really cognizant of what my diet is. And when I say my diet, I'm not talking about what I eat. I'm talking about the things that I look at, like the music that I listen to, what I do or do not watch on TV, and what I entertain, and the type of people that I have around me. And I think that that can all affect you when it's time for you to get somewhere and get quiet and get in your own space. So, when I do create, I get into a meditative space where I block everything out and I focus and I put all my energy into what I'm doing. And a lot of blocks that I had before I learned how to do that was I had all of these other people's opinions in my head. Like, are people going to buy this? Are they going to like this? Are these colors weird? Those are just things that I thought about. But then I had to gain confidence within myself to tell myself, this is me, this is who I am, and this is what I'm presenting. And it's all about the energy and the intention that you put behind something. Because I could put 3 lines on a piece of paper. And if those lines are about structure and those lines are about me expressing how I feel, that's going to translate to someone. Someone is going to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very intentional when I create, and I put all my energy into it, and I put a lot of love into what I do. I feel like I am love, and I feel like we're all expressions of love because we were created, in love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. How could someone tap into their intuition, do you think?
Wow. That's a very good question. Meditation is a very good way to tap into your intuition. Going out into nature. There's something that I studied, and it's called the Akashic Records. AKASHIC, the Akashic Records. And it's a record of everything that's happened from the beginning of time till way past where we are. So there are records out there in nature of things that have happened. And when you go out in nature, you can set an intention to access the Akashic Records. And nature will bring you messages if you quiet yourself down. If you connect with nature, I feel like I get messages through animals. Animal symbolism is something that's really been pivotal for my intuition. And I have adapted a raw food diet. And I feel like we're made of stardust. You know what I'm saying? We're connected to the sky, we're connected to the ground. That's why when we go out in nature, it changes our vibration, it raises our vibration up. So if you're putting clean, natural, organic foods in your body, you're going to be able to connect with the world. And, that will give you more of an understanding of yourself. And then you have an understanding of the way that everything else is. You have a clear sight and a clear vision. And manifesting is also a good way to improve your intuition, because you learn to trust yourself. You learn to believe what you've created and believe it. You just establish this relationship with yourself and the higher power, whether you believe in God, whether you believe in source energy, whatever you believe in, Buddha. There's so many different things that people believe in. Some people don't believe in God at all, but just a higher source of energy and connecting to that really sparks your intuition. And creating, it doesn't matter whether you're an artist or not. Creating expresses something that's inside of you, and that gives you power. You're using your right brain, you're using your third eye, and it really doesn't matter how it ends up looking like, as long as you're expressing how you feel and what's inside of you. There are a lot of books and resources out there for your intention. I studied this woman, her name is Michelle Beltran, and she's a really good resource for empath and HSPs, because she believes that everybody is psychic. Everybody is psychic and everybody is intuitive, and it's about tapping into that. And she talks about a lot of different exercises and things that you can do to enlighten your intuition. And for me, journaling was major. meditation was major, yoga was major, paying attention to synchronicities and, angel numbers and writing those things down and remembering. Your memory is very, very important to your intuition, because you can remember certain things happening and certain nuances and certain feelings that things make you feel. Today is 220. That's my angel number. My angel numbers are 22222. And I think that, those numbers have a different meaning for everyone. But for me, that's like a master builder number, the 222. And that's amazing that we're all here today together like that. And I feel like we're building something. We're creating something right now today. I'm so glad that I met you, and I'm so glad that I had this opportunity and that we're here together. And, like 10 years ago, I never would have thought that I'd be doing something like this. You know what I'm saying? Never, identifying myself as an empath or an HSP and knowing this is who I am and speaking the truth of who I am. And yes, I'm sensitive. And yes, this is a superpower. And yes, I can connect with like-minded people and I can love my life and enjoy myself. And everything that I have been through has been worth it. Every single thing. And I would not take anything back and change it. And another way that so I would stand at the door and I would line my kids up. And I feel like, behavioral issues in the classroom and behavioral management is everything. Because if the kids are not engaged, then, oh gosh, you know what I'm saying? Everything, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, that didn't work out. And things can just change really fast. They can escalate and go from 0 to 100, and then you lost control of your classroom. Yes. So I would stand at the door and I would look at these kids, every single one of them. I would look at them in their face. And, adults can hide pain. Adults can hide a lot of stuff really well, but children can't do that. Some of them can, but most of them can't. When they having a off day, you can see it. Because they come in, they might be leaning to the side, they may come in and do something weird, and it's nothing wrong with that, but you just know you got to take mental note of that. And you read that, and then you learn the kids and you learn consistencies in their behavior and the energies that they have. And I taught 6,000 kids, and I taught like all the kids in the school, in the elementary school, not in middle school and high school, but in elementary school I taught every single one. So I got into this habit of looking at the children and reading their energy. And then, after I did it for so long, I got to the point where I didn't have to do that. I could just stand, and kind of just see them out the side of my eye, and I would know who to pull out the line, sit them somewhere else, or, make sure that I paid more attention to them. And I think that really, really increased my intuition and made me, it increased my clair abilities, and it gave me more of a psychic power. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't, when you say you're a psychic, they don't really understand what that means. Our culture sometimes has identified psychics and people that are intuitive as somebody, they can be afraid. They can feel like they're going to be taken advantage of, or, I know your darkest secrets, or I'm gonna, I know what you did. And it's not about that. I think that whatever comes up when you're with somebody that's an intuitive healer is something that needs to be healed within me as a facilitator and healed within the person that I'm working with. So it's all about healing. It's not about shame, and it's not about fear, and it's not about, I really would like to demystify intuition and demystify, somebody being psychic, because we're all psychic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Did you always know you were psychic from when you were little, or was it something that you kind of uncovered in time?
When I was a child, I always wanted to, it was a lot of unsureness. Yeah. Because of the emotional neglect, and I didn't know how people were going to respond to me when my parents, I didn't know how they were going to respond. So I would always try to figure it out and predict it. And it was a lot of unsureness and things that I wanted to be sure about. I wanted to have control over that. in a sense. Not control where I tried to control what was going on the outside, because you can't really do that. I wanted to have control over uh, the outcome in my mind. You know what I'm saying? So um, that's what I focused on. My mind just went blank, and I think because the technology connection, sometimes I have these brain farts. They just be. What was the question that you asked me again?
Oh yeah, no, it's okay. I have them too all the time. Did you kind of work on developing that
Yeah,
psychic sense at a certain
yeah.
point in your life, or did it occur to you, wow, I have, I am able to have those clear senses?
Yes, I developed it over time.
Yeah.
I would think about things very deeply, and I would try to predict things a lot. And then the more that I did that, and the more I paid attention to things like that, I realized that I knew what was going to happen. Like watching movies, you know how you watch a movie sometimes and you know what's going to happen? Like, oh my God, she finna get killed. Or, oh my God, he gonna get, you know what I'm saying? You just watch stuff and oh my God, they're going to fall in love. They're about to kiss. She gonna have an affair with him. You just know, because there becomes a pattern in things. And I paid attention. I think I increased my intuition a lot by watching movies and listening to people's stories and getting to know people better.
Mhm.
And then also, um, I think I increased my psychic abilities a lot by manifesting something every single day and learning how to create things, and then learning how to trust myself, and then learning how to trust what I see and what I feel and what I know and what the universe is telling me.
What do you mean about?
What do you mean about manifesting every day? How could someone do that?
Like, okay, like today, I have this presentation, and it's my highest choice that we have positive interaction, that technology goes well, that everything works out, that I'm able to be in a flow state, that I understand, how to be myself. You know what I'm saying? So I can set the intention to do that, and I can manifest that. And there can be blocks to manifestation. Like you may have toxic people in your life, or you may not believe in yourself, or it may just not be the right time. It's so many things that can block that, but that's all part of learning how to manifest and create things and bring things in your life. You can do writing and manifest things into your life. The way that I started out with a glass of water, and I put 4 pennies and 3 dimes in the water. And every day before I left the house, I would speak something into it, like something that I wanted to create that day. Like, I want to make sure I go to bed tonight on time, or I want to, and these are things that are feasible, not I want to win $1 million. You know what I'm saying? It has to be things that that are attainable, that you can see, that that can happen, that you believe that can happen. You can, if you really want to manifest $1 million, I guess you can, but I feel like it's important to do things that are feasible, that are practical, and things, if you want to manifest $1 million, you can in the long term, but you have to set those intentions and let go. It's really important when you manifest to let go.
So put the intention out there and then forget about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. Which is there one clair that stands out to you that you're more connected with, like clairsentience, or could you tell
Yeah.
a little bit about what that means, the clairs?
Yeah. So there's different like you can be clairvoyant, you can be clairsentient, clairaudient. Clairaudient is you can hear things, nuances. Clairgustient is smelling things.
Oh, I never heard of that one.
Yeah. See, Michelle Beltran, Beltran, she talks about that, about the different clair abilities. But as a healer, I know what death smells like, unfortunately, but I do, you know what I'm saying? Not somebody that has been close to death before. And I know what fibroid tumors smell like. I know what cancer smells like, and illness and dehydration, just because cells have a memory and I can remember, those smells. But my strongest clair, I would say, is clairsentient, is feeling emotions. I can walk past people and not even make eye contact with them and feel their emotions. And I think that's because of, the teaching, and just, I think that I come from a long line of healers. And I think that cells have a memory and emotions have a blueprint, like say for instance, you're a mother and you have a child, and when your child is about to get sick, because you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? It's something that you feel inside of yourself. And it's the same thing with, emotions. You can remember their signs, their signals, there's, nuances that help you to remind you of what's going on. So I would say it's emotions that I read very well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I've got to ask you about the smelling. I'm so curious. So, do you just walk around and you smell and you just know? Okay, how does it work?
Well, I don't always smell stuff sometimes, but just sometimes I'll just smell things.
Mm,
Um,
it's a real smell, or it's the emotion is bringing up the smell, but the smell not actually out there. Is that?
no, it's a real
It's a
smell.
real smell. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's a real smell. And other people may not smell it, but you do, because your vibration is so high and you're in tune with. A lot of people are not in tune because of what they watch, what they consume, what they're thinking about, stress, anxiety, depression, fear, pain, toxic people. All of that stuff can block you from being connected to what's going on around you. And everybody has the ability, like when you need to empty the trash in the kitchen, because you can smell it. You know what I'm saying? It's like a smell like that. It's the same thing. It's just like something is off. It's paying attention to what's going on. And when something is off, that's what really it is. Like a smell that's off, like when a baby poops. When a baby poops, you can smell it like, ooh. And it's not always something that is revolting, or it's not always something, but you just know what it is because you smelled it before
Mm-hmm.
and identify with it. And I think a long time ago, there were no sonograms, there were no tests, there weren't blood tests, there weren't things like that. And people had to heal themselves. And there were healers that knew. They just knew because of different things. And I think smell is one of the things that they knew. You know what I'm saying? What did she say? She said she sometimes smells cigarettes.
Yeah, she says she sometimes smells cigarettes. Her dad used to smoke, and he passed 3 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
I think that stuff like that definitely happens because of the memory of cells and the energy. And I think that there's another world out there beyond death. I really believe that. And I connect with my ancestors every day. I have pictures of them set up. I light candles in front of them. I pray to them, and I'm proud that I do that because I feel like there's another life beyond this life. There's another understanding, beyond that. And I think Janet, I think it would be a good idea for you to connect with your higher self, or with your father's energy. You may not want to do this. This is just my opinion. And look into that and see what that is that needs to be healed and what that really means to you. And ask the universe, set the intention to gain clarity and insight when you don't understand that. The universe will deliver whatever you put out. If it's something that you want to know, you can find out. If you trust in that, you will find that information out. The information will come to you. So you can set the intention. How can I know more about what's happening? I would like to have clarity and insight on what's going on, and you will get it.
so beautiful to just ask. We
Right,
forget that
right.
sometimes. Yeah. Someone says that they feel emotions, know things, and see spirits who communicate with pictures.
Hmm. Absolutely. I
Mm-hmm.
can totally understand that. I thought that I was so weird for so long because I saw spirits and I felt things in pictures and I felt energy on pictures. I mean, like sometimes people create logos. You know how like you watch TV sometimes and you may see a logo down at the bottom of the screen? There's energy that comes from things from the way that when they were created, the intention that they put on it. People represent things that have a lot of power that's beyond our scope. And I think that's something that we need to understand about that is, the places that we go, the things that we do, there's a level of magic that is being used on all of us to program us, to make us understand stuff. So we need to take that, what you see and what you feel, take that and use that as a navigation tool to use it as a superpower. Don't be afraid of what you see and what you feel. Explore it more. Write it down. Think about it. Ask questions. Never stop being curious about the things that you feel and look at that as you have a special gift and continue to hone it and continue to understand, who you are and what you are and you're different. It's okay to be different. It's okay to have these things and there's nothing wrong with you. For so long, I felt because of the way that my spirit is and because of the way that I connect with people, I felt like an outsider for so long. And I felt like I did not fit in. I would go places and I would be so happy and I would have so much love inside of me and I would express so much to people and they would not understand. Like, what? And I just felt that way. But I had to learn how to accept myself and how to say, this is who I am. And one of the most profound experiences I have ever had is there was a man that I met, and he was a clerk at a market that I go to, and he was a petite man, and I think that he was just coming out and expressing what was really going on inside of him, and he would wear female jewelry sometimes. And I would be like, well, I wonder why he does that, but I never judged him. And he always had this really high vibration. He was always really kind to me. And when I connected with him, I always felt like he was somebody that understood me and he made eye contact with me and our energy connected. And, like one day, I go to the store every week. So I would always see him and I was always go through his line and I didn't mind him ringing up my food because I feel like energy is transferable. So I always liked him to be there for me, in that sense. So one day, I'm about to leave and I'm looking at him and I'm reading his energy. And it was just, it happened in a couple of seconds. And I felt female energy coming from him. And I thought to myself, like, wow, this is how people are transgender and they say that they feel like they're a man trapped in a woman's body or a woman trapped in a man's body. And I could feel this female nurturing energy come from him. And it was so profound because I left that situation like, what is that? What is that like? To look one way and then be something totally different on the inside. And I took that and I thought about it really deeply. And I thought about like, this is the life that I'm living. I look this way. I'm walking around and I'm doing this, but I'm not being an artist. I'm not telling people that I'm intuitive. I'm not telling people I'm an empath, that I'm highly sensitive. You know what I'm saying? So it was one of the most profound moments of my life. And I remember the next time I saw him, I hugged him. And I know he was like, what the, like, does this lady want? And I wanted to connect with him and tell him, oh my God, I understand what you're going through. But I had to realize that it wasn't my place to do that, to tell him, I know, he didn't ask me to read him. He didn't ask for my reading. It was about me holding space for him and connecting to him and understanding what it's like to be different. And I continue to do that. And I've seen him be who he is. I've seen him come out and blossom, and I have a better understanding of what that's like to look a certain way and then feel some other type of way, and really being who you are. And it's still one of the most profound things that I have ever experienced, because I think that when people see stuff like that, when they see a man dressed like a woman, it's a culture shock. They don't really understand that, because they're used to seeing a blueprint of this is the way that this is supposed to look, and they see something different and they don't understand it. But there is no way that anybody is supposed to be. There's no set way that we're supposed to look or act, or, we're all connected, and we're all just out here doing the best that we can. And, I really love that I learned that. And I love that I met him and I had that experience, because it was life-changing for me.
Just going back to how you said that you see spirits, is
Yeah.
it ever kind of startling, or what is it like?
Okay. Well, the first time, yeah, it was startling. It was. But the couple of times that it happened after that, I asked the universe, let me gain clarity and insight and find out why this spirit is around, and what this means. And I think that we have spirits that watch over us, spirits that are curious, spirits that want to know information from us. And I think that that's important. Spirits aren't anything for us to be afraid of. I go out into nature by myself all the time. I go all off in the woods, like alone. And I'm never afraid. I'm never like, oh, someone's gonna get me. For me, what I feel like I need to be cautious of is the people that walk around on legs, that, like people that we work with that have these intentions, and that they don't want us to ascend. I feel like that's the thing to be cautious and afraid of. But a spirit is not something that, if a spirit comes to you, I don't think it's anything that wants to hurt you. And I think that if you have to deal with the spirit that you feel like is volatile, there are ways that you can protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember there's this farm that I go to all the time. It's called Lion's Farm, and there were slaves that lived on this farm. And I can remember being out there one day by myself, and I saw a woman, and she was dressed like an African woman. She had, like African garb on. And she wanted to know, she asked me what happened to her husband. She wanted me to tell her what happened to her husband. And maybe about 6 months after that, I ended up meeting this man, and he was he was a descendant of these slaves that lived on this farm. And he took me into this house and took me up under the house and told me the story about his family and everything. And they ended up remodeling the house and preserving the farm so that people can see it. And I think that sometimes spirits connect with us because they want to be remembered. They want people to tell their story, and they want to have a better understanding, and for us to have a better understanding of what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm. Can you say a little bit about the work that you're doing now as far as art and your healing work?
Yes. So the work that I'm doing now is work that expresses love and connection. And I really feel like it's important for us all to connect with each other. I found out about 5 years ago that my great grandfather was Irish, and that changed my perspective on everything, because I have been socialized, as a Black person, that there's a separation between me and other cultures. And that's not the case. I feel like we're all one. That changed my perspective on everything, and I've never felt like I was better than anybody, or, or separate from anybody. But my art is now about oneness and about all of us connecting with each other. And no matter who we are or where we are, just feeling love and expressing who we are. So I really put a lot of energy and a lot of love into my art. And right now, this is, I wanted to show you some things.
Oh, yay.
So this is a sign that I look at every morning.
Oh,
It's right in my bed. And this is very important to manifesting and to creating and to let go. To let go of things that no longer serve you, to let go of the past, to let go of people's ideas and opinions, and just to be who you are and to be free. And that's really important. I'm all about letting go. And this is a picture that I really, really love. And this is a person, and it's the shape of Africa. And the shape of Africa is backwards. And when I was creating this, I didn't realize that, it was backwards. But the reason why it is backwards is because a lot of people have it wrong. They have it backwards. They think that Black people are the only people that are from Africa. We're all from Africa. The first human remains, Lucy, was found in Africa. We're all from the same place. So that's what this expresses, that we're all one. We all come from the same place. And I've never showed this picture to anyone, because I felt like, because the pentagram is on here, I'm like, oh, that's gonna freak, that's witchcraft, And no, it's not. It's a protection symbol. Sheriffs wear pentagrams. It's so many different facets. It's a symbol. It's a protection symbol. So my art is about expressing things, the unsaid, the unseen, the unheard, and doing that through color and movement and line and shapes. And a lot of people that look at my art, since I've come out and I'm an empath and I've connected with like-minded people, they can feel the energy in my art. They know what I'm trying to express. And that is so profound to me, because there were so many times that I created stuff and I thought that people wouldn't like it and they wouldn't understand. But there are people, how they say there's somebody for everybody. There is somebody out there that will understand your art and that will appreciate what you create. So I'm focusing on that and giving people conscious connection and understanding through my art. So this is a picture that I found yesterday. And I love this because it's just expressive. It's not about something that is, easily digestible, or, oh, it's a pretty flower. It's something that expresses femininity and power and just so many different things. And I'm so glad that I found this, because I'm like, sometimes we make things and we try to make, not that anything is wrong with this right here. It's a flower. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh my God. But you look at this and you stare at it, and it makes you think, and it makes you contemplate, and your eyes move around. And I think that's very important for art, that you're engaged with it. That's what makes good art, in my opinion. Not that it's something that's necessarily beautiful, but it's something that makes you think and makes you stop and stare. And when I first started creating art, people would look at my art and they wouldn't be like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. And it would hurt me. But I didn't realize the power in the silence and them not saying anything. It was making them think. It was making them feel. And I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing, that people do that they stop and they think about stuff and they look at it and they stare at it and what does it mean, and that's important, that you express exactly what you want to express, and you're not concerned about what people think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for showing all of those things. So
this is another piece that I created right here, and this is a notebook, a manifestation notebook. But I created this piece, and it was one of the hardest times of my life, and it turned out to be the most expressive and the most beautiful. So I would recommend, if anybody is an artist or not an artist, to find a way to express how you feel, because you might I mean, you might, you have you can get those things out, and you can look at it, and it can be something that you have processed, and you can see that you created something else with that, with something that may have started out as dark energy, and something that is pain. You can turn it and transform it and transmute it into something that is beautiful.
How do people find you?
My Instagram is oh, thank you. I'm so glad that people are inspired, because I've been so inspired by so many people, and including you, Sara, and Julie Bajelland, and Aaron Dowdy, and Ralph Smart. There are so many people that have inspired me. So I feel like it's so great that I can inspire other people. But my Instagram is Tamara Douglas Art, TamaraDouglas Art, and I have a website, tamaradouglasart.com.
And she puts her beautiful art on clothing and, if I remember right, notebooks too.
Yeah, I create notes. I have sweatshirts, hats, and there's a lot. I loved I love fashion, or I love color. I was a fashion merchandiser, when I was in college, and I love to create wearable art. I think that's a way that even if a person doesn't have the money to put art on their wall, they can put on something, express something, and it's something that everybody can see and share. So I really like creating merchandise and art as well.
Someone wants to know, were you raised in any particular spiritual tradition?
Yeah, I was raised in a Christian household, but I had family members that practiced African spirituality. That, like, they set up altars and lit candle, but these weren't people that were in my immediate family. And I can remember my aunt having a conversation with my aunt, and she was like, when you're ready. And I was like, what is she talking about, when I'm ready? And I started, as I got older, I started to learn, as an empath and as an HSP, I needed to protect myself. And a cross wasn't doing it for me. Prayer wasn't doing it for me, because it's energies and entities out here that are beyond our scope, that are beyond, that's just the way that it is. It's low vibrational energy. So my spiritual practice, I really got set into that when I started having to protect myself from my own family, from people in my own family. And I really feel like it's important to say that I had to disconnect from my entire family, everybody, my mother, my father, my sister, my grandmother, my cousins, because the energy was not serving me. And it was one of the most powerful and profound things that I had ever done. And I had never heard of anybody doing anything like that until one time I was reading the comments on a YouTube video, and somebody was talking. They was like, I went through no contact with all my family. And I think it's important to know that some people have to do that. Sometimes you have to disconnect from toxic situations and toxic people to protect yourself, because sometimes there are energies and there's spirits and there's people that don't want you to ascend, just because, trying to figure that out is, I really, I don't focus my energy on trying to figure out why people do the things that they do, because that's not my lane. I try to stay in my lane and control what I can. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that's important for me to tell that story. And for, I love when I meet people and they have families and they love their parents and their parents support them. I love to see that and know that that exists. You know what I'm saying? But it's okay if you have to disconnect from your family. That doesn't discount who you are. And you can do it. You can stand on your own, and you can be who you are, and you can find your soul family and connect with them. And you will, just believe it. You will.
I'm from New Orleans.
Somebody down front, I'm from Ann Arbor, Michigan. So both of my parents went to the University of Michigan. So I was born in Ann Arbor. And then when I was 4 or 5, we moved to Atlanta. And I've been here ever since then.
Okay. Yeah. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's very brave of you. I feel like so many people just get stuck in those family patterns and don't know how to break out of it when it's really about sometimes just making a really strong boundary. I love that. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
sure I can imagine how hard that must have been to do, but just I'm sure it must have made a huge difference in your life.
Yes. It wasn't something that I did overnight. It was something that I always wanted to do, and I had to take steps to do it. Like I remember when I first was like, I got, it was certain people that I stopped talking to. I blocked them on my phone. And I remember one year for my birthday, I changed my phone number. So I changed my phone number, and I didn't give anybody in my family, my phone number. And that was like super empowering, because I'm like, they don't have a line of energy to me, like they can call me. But then, my mother got sick, you know what I'm saying? And they were trying to reach me, and they had to reach me by email, and like the floodgates opened back up again. But, like you have to not you, but a person, I had to get thicken my skin when it came to things like that, because toxic is toxic no matter what happens. Things that don't serve you, they're not going to serve you when you're sick, when they're sick, or anything. Matter of fact, sometimes in toxic situations, when someone is sick, things can get worse because emotions are high, or, your protection level may be low if you're sick. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important to assess that when things like that happen. And if someone is toxic, they will take advantage of illness. They will take advantage of death and use that. And I think it's important in separating from toxic people and toxic situations to cut the line of energy off, whatever it is, whatever access they have to you and whatever access you have to them, to cut it off, whether it's through the phone, through social media, through ignoring them, not paying attention to it. And it's empowering. If you have things holding you back like that, you will feel the difference when you let those things go. I think that when you start to raise your vibration, situations and people like that will naturally start to fall off, and you'll naturally start to pay attention to what's not serving you anymore.
That's really great insight. I think that's so true.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right. So
Thank you.
your Instagram you shared, and any other way that people can get a hold of you if they'd like to connect with you after?
Yes, my website is tamaradouglasart.com. So you can, message me on there. You can contact me. I create logos, I create business pages, and flyers, like artistic things like that. I create art, and I'm also an intuitive healer, but right now I'm focusing on my art, because I feel like me using my creative voice is going to strengthen those abilities.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for speaking from your heart and for sharing all of this with us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity, and thank you everyone for being here. I'm really grateful. This has made my day. I mean, like, the joy that I feel inside of me. Oh my God, it's amazing. So I am very glad to be here, and you are welcome. Thank you so much, Sara.
Thank you, Tamara. All right, I hope everyone has a beautiful day.
Yeah, everyone have a wonderful and blessed day.
And at 4, we'll have Emmy Marie if you'd like to come back for Blooming After Trauma.
Yes, that's going to be excellent.
All right, take care.
All right, you too. Thank you. Bye-bye.